Hello guys, welcome back to Hey Manager with me Alex, and today we're going to be looking at my Game Week 1 team, how we've done and how I plan to make my team going forward into Game Week 2. So it's been a few days since I've uploaded, since I've got back onto here, so let's have a look where we are at. So let me just zoom in for you guys at home, zoom in a little bit more so we can actually see my full squad, which isn't loading in, but there we go, we've got it all loaded in. That should be enough for you. So, how do we fare? That's the question. We got 53 points. The average is 54, just below average. Typical really, of what I was expecting. But if you look at where we are, total players 10.5 million. I'm in the top 50%, which I'll take for a game week 1. I always plan for the first 3 game weeks. It's just unfortunate that the first game week didn't go in my favour. So, a few changes towards the back end of when I last did my game week. I think it was my game week 1 squad. I did change a few things around. I took Petrovic out and put Areola in. Obviously, they brought Hermansen in. Not worked out for West Ham at all, has it? And Fulkrug did not have a great game whatsoever. He didn't. And it was, well, yeah, let's just say it wasn't great. So, he did not show up as I would have expected, especially against the Sunderland newly promoted side. We then saw Haaland get, the 2 goals I expected. I expected him to get at least a goal against Wolves, but he got 2, and then 3 points in the bonus. Played 72 minutes, got the 2 points extra. Did really well. Managed to get me the 13 points, so that doubled 26. Really happy with that. That's carried me pretty much this game week. The one that I expected more from is Watkins and Marlon. So Marlon had a fantastic preseason, didn't start against Newcastle. They went a bit more defensive than I expected. They played Kamara. They played, I can't remember the other player as well, but they had McGinn at the right, then they had Morgan Rogers on the left. And he was just a very defensive side. I didn't really understand why Aston Villa played such a defensive side. Obviously, Konsa got his red card, but that's not brilliant for me, as I had Jorginho Rutter on the bench, who managed to actually get an assist, which... Yeah, I thought he might do something because he had been playing striker all the way through the preseason. He did it, I just didn't have the faith in him, and that could have got me an extra 5 points, taking me above the average, moving me up the leaderboards, but it's a shame. Now then, Bruno Fernandes. I think he was 1 shy, was he? Defensive contributions, I want to say. I think he was 1 shy. Yeah, 1 shy. 12 it is for midfielders. He had 11. He had 0.45 expected goal involvements. He looks to be playing a lot deeper than I expected. Now, if Manchester United... and this is a big if Manchester United start picking up form, because they have Fulham, Burnley to play, they've got then the difficult games against City and Chelsea, but again, Manchester United always turn up against these bigger sides. We've seen big scorelines in the past. Brentford, then after that, with Sunderland to play, so again, nice run of games really there. If you look at the next, 6 games? Next 6 games, you're looking at, hopefully, if they can, a good few goals against Fulham, a good few goals against Burnley, a good few goals against Sunderland and Brentford. Then City and Chelsea are a bit of wild cards. I'm going to save my transfer for next week. That's the basic headline for this. I want to see if Bruno Fernandes performs. If he doesn't, out with him. I'll look at who I want to bring in, whether it's Cunha, whether it's Mbeumo, I don't know, but I will assess the situation. My main aim is trying to get rid of Marlon for someone else that I think is going to be good points-wise. So we'll have a look. Palmer I'm pretty happy with. I think he had a decent enough game. Just a shame that Chelsea weren't as an attacking threat as I thought they might have been. Didn't really get much going for Palmer. It will happen for him. Porro, Tottenham, I knew they'd get a clean sheet in the opening game day of the season. Frank sets them up so much better. Burnley weren't brilliant going forwards whatsoever. I should have just stuck with my Porro, Vicario and Van der Ven back 3, because that would have got me 18 points altogether. Instead I tried to play it clever, had Nico Williams in there, who unfortunately just about picked up just missed out on a clean sheet and got the -1 for the yellow card. Juve had an absolute stinker against Sunderland, really, really bad. Actually didn't have that great stats either. Got forward a little bit, but defensive contributions-wise, only 3 for a defender. For West Ham, who I don't know if they'll actually, they might do well against smaller sides, but much smaller sides. But then again, Sunderland, I thought they might have done better against. And then again, as well as that, we saw Fulham score in the last few minutes against Brighton, which saw Verbruggen not get his clean sheet. So, a bit unfortunate, but I'll take it for now. I was going to think about transfers-wise, what I do with this squad. So, Reinders is an obvious one that everyone, I think, is going to jump on the bandwagon. I think it's a little bit of a trap. I think he plays that role pretty well, arriving late. It's like the Gundogan role that they used to play back in the day. But I think once you start getting your Dokus and maybe Foden gets back in there, I mean, I don't know if Reinders will be the main midfielder for that creativity going forward. I think once Foden gets fit again, he looked great in the Club World Cup. Will Reinders be as, you know, as creative, as involved, should I say, as he has been in this first game of the season? I think again, City have some difficult games coming up, so it'll be interesting to see how they fare. So Reinders, I think, is a bit of a trap. Other than that, I think Matty Cash. I think Aston Villa, if you look at their upcoming games, their fixtures, let's just have a look at them. I think Brentford is a great game away from home, I know, but I think that's going to be not easy pickings, but can easily be plenty of goals in that. Palace at home. Palace are great defensively, but again, there's opportunities. We saw Chelsea go close. I mean, Esteval came very, very close. You saw even Gittins had a decent run at the left-hand side against them. Everton looked pathetic. Sunderland, again, a newly promoted side. Fulham and then Burnley. I think the next 6 weeks you can rely on Aston Villa players, be it defenders, be it Morgan Rogers, be it, a Watkins. I'm going to stick with who I've got for Aston Villa players anyway for now. Other than that, I don't really see any other transfers that you probably plan to make. I think Aston Villa players are the way forwards. Liverpool look very, very good. Going to be scoring a lot of goals, just avoid defenders like the plague. Van Dijk, again, I just don't know. I don't see him doing too well. In terms of picking my team for next week, this is who we're going for. So Verbruggen in net, because Everton did not look threatening whatsoever. I've got Esteve, who comes in there, De Kuyper and Nico Williams against Crystal Palace. Let's hope Eze is not playing for them at that point, because he was brilliant against Chelsea. I forgot who they played then. Palmer in there. I think I'm contemplating whether or not I put him as the captain. I think West Ham at home, we could see a bit of an upset. Maybe at least a goal for West Ham if they're going to they need to prove themselves basically. And I think Palmer might do better against West Ham because they don't drop as deep. They get the wing backs forward, so we'll have to see how that goes. Bruno Fernandes against Fulham. Haaland against Tottenham. Could go either way. I think Tottenham look pretty good defensively this year. I mean, Romero and Van de Ven look pretty solid, and then Jed Spence is brilliant at the back. Watkins against Brentford, that's going to be my captain. That's going to be the controversy I'm going to put into this. I think he'll be the captain, and he will do the bits for me. Jorginho comes into the side. We also see Porro going to the bench and Marlon going to the bench. I'm going to keep a transfer. I'm going to have it, a bit of a log, a bit of a backlog, as you can see down here. My squad value is still 100 million, but transfers wise, I've got one free one. I'm going to load up for next week, because in fixtures wise, if we have a look at the fixture difficulty rating, as you can see, I think after game week 2, Arsenal against Leeds will be a very interesting one. But then they have Liverpool, Forest, City, Newcastle, where I would avoid Arsenal like the plague. Aston Villa, again, I think a great team to get in. Bournemouth look pretty interesting. They do play Tottenham, but then they have Brighton and Newcastle at home, Leeds, Fulham, Palace all to play. I think that's another good few 6 weeks to go against. Then who else do I think will be good to bring in? I think potentially Crystal Palace. Look at the Sunderland West Ham game. Liverpool, they're giving them a good run for money, like in the Community Shield. Then Everton Bournemouth, I think that's a pretty nice run. Other than that, I don't really see many teams that you would probably take a chance on. If United pick up form, potentially them. Newcastle, I'll have to see what the attacking options are like there. I think Forest, if you wanted to take a punt at Chris Wood, I think give it game week 2, see how they play in game week 2, and then West Ham, Burnley, Sunderland, and then in between Arsenal and Newcastle, so you can rotate players in and out. I think that's a brilliant run of games. And then Spurs, if Kudus gets going, if Richarlison keeps his form going, I'd load up on Spurs defenders. I mean, Bournemouth at home is a nice one, I think. West Ham away is really nice. Brighton again, I think's a difficult one but nice. Then Wolves and Leeds in there with Villa, Everton. I think that's a nice run of games as well, so I'd load up on them. So for now, no transfer used, controversially, potentially. I think I've got a good chance with Brighton in here. I think I can see them doing quite well. Villa, I've got the Watkins representative. I've got Palmer in against West Ham, who looked like they were struggling. Haaland in there, who just gets goals. Fernandes, let's see what he can do against Fulham, and he might be the one to leave the side if he doesn't get any output going. And then a bit of faith in Burnley against Sunderland. Esteve, let's see how Sunderland have actually fared, see if they can continue the form. And then Nico Williams, again another player where do I try and go for a more of a centre-back role who are going to get those defensive contributions. If we just have a look at the quick stats, which is a nice little addition this year. Defensive contributions wise for all defenders, you can see here 21 for Virgil van Dijk, but Lacroix, Senesi's a nice one. Aiton Yuri was a surprising one, which I think is going to be brilliant if you can get him in. City look pretty solid at the back. Anya as well, and Matty Cash. Matty Cash has got to be my pick, I think, going forwards. I think he'll probably come into the side if I don't like what I'm seeing. Yoro as well, it's a surprising one. I think if he can pick up a few clean sheets here and there, he looks pretty good defensively, so I'd also potentially go with him. So that's my update. That's my Game Week 1 review, my Game Week 2 look forward. I'm only going to do the one video each week. I think it's just nice to try and get involved with FPL and try and keep this consistent through the year. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe if you're new. We're close to that 300 already. It's not even the end of August yet. I'm looking forward to seeing if we can beat that by the end of August to get 300 sub-managers. And yes, thank you guys for watching. Hope you're all well, and I shall catch you in the next one. From me, Alex, have a great day. Ciao.